Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to do the review for Fear the Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 4. This episode, it has a ton of Easter eggs throughout, the Rick Grimes stuff and a bunch of other stuff. So it was a really good episode, actually. I enjoyed it. So before I get into it, spoiler warning in case you haven't seen it. But with that being said, let's get started. And yeah, like I said, this episode I really enjoyed. It had a ton of Easter eggs, which we're going to discuss later on in this video. But I really liked the character moments in this episode. Also, I like how the story finally progressed. Like we're moving forward, which is very exciting because there are a lot of exciting stuff that they've planted throughout this season. You could argue that it's been slow, but I'm just excited how we're moving forward now and finally getting some answers about what's going on with these kids and the CRM. Hopefully next week. Alright, so let's start off with the plane stuff because we had Strand and his group trying to steal the plane, and I kind of saw how this was going to play out, with the group failing and then Daniel changing his mind. I kind of saw that was going to happen because obviously, I'm sure Daniel, if he's taking all that time to, have all those stuff, I'm sure he has good security and he knows what's going on. But I did like the moments between Daniel and Charlie in this episode. I did like their bonding and I was sold by it, and it was pretty cool seeing that happen. I thought it worked well also because they could relate to each other, and we saw that in the episode that they were actually connecting with one another. And I was just happy with the way it played out. I'm not sure exactly where Daniel is going at the end, but I'm sure we're gonna find out, and I hope we do see more of Daniel. I don't think that was the last time of Daniel. But there were a lot of good Daniel stuff. We're going to get to more stuff in my Easter eggs section of the video on callbacks, because I don't usually do Easter egg and callbacks like sections of the videos, but this one had a lot, so I want to talk about all those in this video also. The Lucy and Dylan stuff, and then like all the kids in general. I'm happy the kids finally agreed to cooperate. It was such a relief to see that happening. And again, I kind of saw this coming because I think it was obvious that the kids were going to cooperate and they had to move forward with the bigger enemy. But I'm just happy it finally happened, and the next 4 episodes or so, at least for the first half, look to be very exciting, so I can't wait. But yeah, the kids in the group, they're finally cooperating. We learn what happened to the kids and how their parents died, and it was definitely like an understanding for Alicia, because she understood what they've been going through, because she herself lost her family, so she could definitely understand where they're coming from and why they're acting like that. And I just like that moment, and that's what I mean by good character moments in this episode. And a lot of them worked, and with The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, they're definitely character-driven shows, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But for this episode, it did work, and I did like those moments between the characters. Also, I have to mention the airplane kills were awesome. When Strand turned on the airplane and the walkers, the blades, kept killing the walkers. That was, I think, one of the best walker kills I've ever seen in The Walking Dead. It was awesome. So I just had to quickly mention that because it was a real good walker kill and real good scene. And like I've mentioned in this video, this episode had a bunch of Easter eggs and callbacks, and I think we can start off talking about the biggest one, which was the helicopter. At the end of the episode, we saw the helicopter that took Rick because it had that exact same symbol on it, or at least it was a helicopter from that location, those people that took Rick. And I don't know, I was so excited when I saw that, because I kind of I said before the season started that if we ever see the helicopter that took Rick, that would be awesome, and I think fans would get very excited for it, and we actually did see it, so that was awesome. And the exciting thing is that Fear the Walking Dead and the main show, they're just so close to colliding. Like this one storyline is going to connect them, connect everything, the main show, the Fear, and the movies possibly. And I think that's what they may be going for. Maybe this is the end game of The Walking Dead. At the very end, they're all going to be connected with this group. We'll see. But it's just exciting to see that, especially with the fact that Morgan saw the helicopter that took Rick away. Those two started it all, and Morgan somehow seen this helicopter. I mean, you have characters in the main show that haven't even seen the helicopter yet, and the fact that Morgan saw it is just so cool. And then speaking of Morgan, another callback and Easter egg was him bringing up Jenny and Dwayne. I did like that moment also. It's always nice to see characters bring up their past, especially characters that we like and have been there for a while, like Morgan, who's literally been there since episode 1 of The Walking Dead, and he hasn't talked about his family for a while, so it was nice to see him bring that up. And the reason why I really like it is, it works when it's characters that we like and have been there for a while, like I said, because Morgan, looking back at his journey since the beginning of The Walking Dead, it's so crazy. And now that he's here on Fear, like present day Fear with us, like looking back at it over the last decade, it's so insane to see his journey. So it's always nice to see him bring up his past, because that's, it's been so long, he's been through so much, so bringing up his past is always interesting to me. Also, we had a callback to Abraham when Daniel had that cigar and said that an old friend gave it to me. I believe that old friend is Abraham, because we know obviously Abraham is connected to cigars. He always has one in his hand, and Abraham always gets teased to return. Like, he's always that character to get teased to be returning. I know even Michael Cudlitz said it's possible, because I think Michael Cudlitz even said that his character has connections with other characters, and he's involved in the behind the scenes, so I wouldn't be surprised if he knows it. And we also saw last season Al had those tapes that said Abe, so obviously and clearly Abraham has had a connection to this area because he's from Texas, but also it could be these characters, which is again bringing the world together just a little bit more, which is always cool. I don't know if we're ever gonna see Abraham like in the flesh. That would be awesome. I wouldn't be surprised though if we do see him in the tapes. I hope we do though, because I mean, little stuff like that, and I think he'd be willing to do that. And like I mentioned, he's involved in the behind the scenes and stuff, so maybe he knows that. And when he was asked like, are you gonna return to The Walking Dead as your character, and he said something like a slight subtle yes. So I mean, he's definitely teased it before. And I think it'll be awesome to see him, talking to Al through the tapes or something. Another Easter egg was Daniel underneath the truck. It definitely resembled Rick underneath the tank. Just the way, like the movements, obviously, in the walkers, and the way they were trying to kill the walkers, and they were coming from both sides. Like, I just like that moment, and I couldn't help but notice the similarities, especially when there's Easter eggs to Rick pretty much planted throughout Fear the Walking Dead season 5. I was worried for Daniel for a bit there. I actually thought something may have happened to him, or I thought he might have just, and also him leading the herd away, that could be a little callback to Rick too. Now again, obviously other characters do that too in the past, but what I'm trying to say is that I was a little bit worried for Daniel. I know last season a lot of people kept asking for Daniel like over and over again, so it could have been this thing where maybe they brought him back just to answer fans' questions, and maybe they didn't really have any plans with his character or something, which I hope not, but I was worried about that because it's still a little odd how he was missing for an entire season. So I mean, I did like how they went back to the dam also, when they talked about the dam. That was also really cool. So they did patch up a lot of stuff with Daniel's character. That's why I was worried he was gonna die, but hopefully he does come back. I mean, he left at the end of the episode, but I'm sure he'll be back. But yeah, they talked about Ophelia again, which I did like. I really like Daniel's character in this episode. I liked what he was, he did stuff with Charlie, Strand, saving his friends, like all that. I thought they did a great job with Daniel in this episode, and I really want to see more Daniel in the future. I mean, it's so crazy to see that the damn stuff was almost 2 years ago. So I liked how they finally brought all that back, and they finally discussed it, because I think they knew fans kept asking for it, and they finally brought it back. But yeah, a lot of callbacks and Easter eggs in this episode. I mean, those are the ones I got. If I missed any, be sure to leave them in the comments down below. I mean, the ones I noticed, it was a lot of Rick connections, which we're gonna get more, I'm sure, in the next 4 episodes. And if I missed any, be sure to leave them in the comments down below. But yeah, overall, a really good episode. To give my quick final thoughts on it, I think Fear's back on the right track now. It just took them a couple episodes to get going. It was a slow, I mean, they have a lot of seeds planted throughout the, with storyline. They just have to get to them, and now we're finally getting to it, which is exciting. I'm excited to see what's next for Fear. I have my episode 5 trailer breakdown video coming out after this. I'm gonna have to just edit it, and then I'm gonna post it shortly after this video, which we're finally gonna see Al again, which is exciting, because she did get taken away by his CRM in episode 1, and we haven't seen her since then, so I'm interested to see what's been going on with her. And I hope, and it looks like we're going to be seeing stuff from her perspective, so hopefully we get to see more of the CRM like uncovered, not just in the black suits. I want to see them in the flesh. I think that would be pretty cool, like maybe their base or something. But I do believe she's going to try to escape and stuff, but we're going to talk about that in that video. But I am going to wrap it up for this one. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating, and for more Walking Dead videos just hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.